bored with your baubles? A few baubles and you thought, I don't really like that after all. Well, there's a solution. Hello everyone, I'm Caroline, and today I'm going to recycle, change up and sometimes make new baubles, 20 of them in total. I was looking through my old baubles, finding out ones I didn't like, deciding what I was going to do to upcycle them, and I got tempted by a few little goodies along the way, and I thought, oh, I'm going to make some baubles with those as well. Right, no time for chatting, let's get on with crafting. For this first upcycled bauble, I'm going to use this bauble. No, it's not too bad really, is it? But I decided I want to do something with it. I've got so many purple baubles, I thought, yep, I can change that. I've got a little cotton hanger on there, so I'm going to leave that on. A hanger's a hanger. Ultimately, when it's on the tree, you will hardly see that. And I got some bits and pieces. I brought my coffee because it's going to be a marathon again today, so this will keep me going. Very nice. So I've got some fluffy bits, and I've got a flower, and I've got some ribbon, some cord, and this. Now these were golden beads, and I'll tell you how I got them to look like this. It was during one of my Halloween videos. I think it was Halloween, it could have been Dark Academia. I'll see if I can find the video and leave a link at the end of this video. And I just got my gold bright shiny beads. I made up some black chalk paint, which was black acrylic paint, and loads of baby powder. Mixed it all together, a tiny bit of water just to loosen it up again. Then I dropped these into the tub, swished them around, and I got this, which I think is very effective. I don't think I'll be using all of these on this one bauble. Just why I need to find the end. As you can see, it's very messy. Bits keep dropping off. I'm going to end up with a very messy desktop. So first thing I'm going to do is to cover my bauble with these beads. Now, you do have to be a little bit aware of what colour your bauble is. Like if I was doing this and it was on top of a pink bauble, it's going to have a very different look. Or if I did it on top of a silver one, I quite like the idea of having the purple bauble underneath. I thought it would go nicely with the black. And also then it gave me the inspiration to check out, that's hot, what purple embellishments and things I had. And it turns out I had a very nice flower that I can use. So it's really simple. Start at the top. Always, you can start at the bottom, but I can never find the perfect bottom, and then it's a bit wonky on the top. So I always start at the top. And I'm putting a lot of hot glue on because I do find that when I make my own chalk paint, the whatever you glue into it doesn't always work as well as you'd like because it's so dry and powdery. So you just go round and around, and guess what? Around until you get to the bottom. When you get almost to the bottom, stop. Don't go right to the very bottom, as we do often when we cover in baubles. And I'm not going to, I'm going to cut it sort of to length, I think. I'll sort of snip it there-ish in case we need it. And I can put all this away because it's clattering and making a noise. Pop that down there. Oh, look, I need to clean my desk. Now, it's time for this flower. It was on a really big, long pick. I'm going to pull that end out. And then, before it has a chance to fall to bits, holding it together, I'm just going to squash some hot glue into the end there. And now, this is going to get glued underneath the bauble hanging down. So I'm looking now, and if it fills into there, I can come around. Yep, I'm going to use the last few of these beads up. Coming round a little bit more. I think we'll be fine. Just want to make sure there is enough space to actually get it to attach, because otherwise it's going to not have a good base to grip onto. So now I'm going to really put a big blob of hot glue there because I want this to stick very firmly. On you go. Like that. So the next thing I'm going to do is find the end of the cotton. No. That's a problem, isn't it? I've got the cotton stuck underneath my baubles. Right, so that's not going to work. This still isn't dry. If you put an awful lot of hot glue, it takes forever to cool. So I'm just going to give that a few more minutes to dry off while I deal with this. So I'm going to chop these ends off. keep your ribbons from anything, even from the shoulders inside your clothing. It's amazing if you cut them out. Don't throw them away. They sometimes put those on to hang, and if you don't cut them out, then you're walking along and suddenly you realise that you can see them hanging out the top of your t-shirt or blouse or whatever. So I always cut them out. I'm going to make a nice 2-loop bow with this, which is just, as you all know if you wash regularly, make 2 loops, tie it in a knot, let it jiggle and twist, find out where it's happy, and tie the ends off. And now I'm going to snip this end here, and then this is going to get glued to the top of the bauble, just so that I can get this video done. I'm not going to go hunting for the perfect colour embroidery floss. I'm just going to use some of my, this is actually a crochet cotton. I use it for binding books, I use it for hanging baubles, I use it for doing sashigo sewing. It's amazing what you can use this for. So now I'm going to put a blob of glue. Where's the front? Pick your favourite bit. I think that's my favourite bit. There. Blob of glue on the front. Pop on. Now you can use a feather for this. You can use, I suppose you could use some dangly lace. It doesn't have to be sticking out fairly firm. You can just have something that flops. That would be fine. I just thought it was really extravagant to have something really sticking out. Now that's going to have to go because it's too gluey. Get rid of that, and then on the front there, little blob of glue again, and then stick on my bow. And look at that, that is nothing like the bauble that we started with, is it? And if you use some purple hanger, it would look even posher. Very high end really when you think what it is. It's some old beads that I picked up in the charity shop. These baubles, whenever I see cheap baubles in the charity shop, I pick them up. A flower from a pick that I picked up in the charity shop. So I did buy those full price on Temu. But there we go. I love that. And that's number 1 in the bag. For this Christmas bauble number 2, I'm going to show you what I mean by they're not all upcycling. Sometimes they're bits I found. I was rummaging in my Christmas tubs and I found this, which is really strange. It's a rose with some Christmas fur on it. So I'm going to take that off. And now I need to cut off this. Sometimes you can pull them out, sometimes not. I'll try pulling. Oh, that came out nicely. Now I'm just going to chop this end off like that. Now the first thing we're going to need is a hanger. So I'm going to make a hanger out of this ribbon. Come to the top of your flower. Pop that over the top of the flower. Hold it in place until it cools. Doesn't take very long. And then trim off all your little sticky out ends. So now we got this, but it's a little bit plain, isn't it? If you like the classic look of that, then great. But I think it's a bit plain, so I'm going to decorate it. And I got some bits and pieces. You'll remember these from a few minutes ago. So I'm going to cut these off the... Oh, they may pull, actually. No, yeah, they're just going to pull off. Don't forget, you can take picks apart to get lots more little bits and pieces, and never be frightened of chopping bits off. If they're too long or if they've got sticky out bits, just pull them off, cut them off. Make them do what you want them to do. Remember, you're in charge. Too big. Chop it down with my scissors. Ah, now it's falling apart, but never mind, never mind. We can still do something with it. Oh, actually, I think that's going to work well for us. Little bit of serendipity, and you can't beat a little bit of serendipity, because now I can put one going that way and one going that way. Oh yes, I've got this big one. Shall I put that on there, or I'll see if I got any red ones. Yep, so I'm just going to add a little bit more glue because this one's coming up as well. It's difficult to stick these onto the plastic fur bits. So I've got this bowl, so I'm just going to dovetail the bottom, so fold it in half and cut up to the centre. Like that. Oh yes, I'm going to glue that on the top there. That is going to look stunning. A little bit of glue. Pop that on. Now, you may think the bowl's a little bit too big for the decoration. I don't, I like it. But again, it's personal taste. But look at that. It was really quick and easy. Just used up some bits and pieces I already had. I didn't have to go buy anything new. So now, as soon as that glue is dry and cooled off, we've got Christmas bauble number 2. Moving on. for this upcycled Christmas bauble, I'm going to use a bauble that's never even been on a tree. I picked this up in Wilko's. It's closed down now. They were originally £1.50. I got this for 10p. Oh, this has to be 10, 12 years ago at least. And it never got used because you can see most of the glittery stuff was already coming off. So I thought, it's not really looking very good on my tree. So it's just been sat there. So I think it's about time I did something to this. So I'm going to leave the hanger on that's already on. Pointless making work if you don't need to. And this is some offcuts from a quilt I made for my daughter last year for Christmas. So I thought, right, I'm going to use this to cover this bauble because it looks much prettier than this worn out old glittery stuff. You could scrape it off if you were really feeling very efficient. I think it'll come off. Yes, it'll come off, but I'm not going to bother because you're not going to see. So I'm going to just start by pushing this fabric so the outsides are showing and start twisting it. And then a little bit of glue into the end bit there and on there. Just daub some little tiny bits around and then sort of reinforce that twisted feel on the end of it. That way then it's not going to keep coming undone. Now you can take this off if you want to and then pop it back on again. I'd rather leave it on because otherwise sometimes it can't actually fit back on top properly to the bit you've added onto it. And this way just covers the bottom. It'll be fine. Out with my festive glue gun. This is the penultimate Christmas in July 2024 video. So it won't be long and my glue gun is going to get very cold because I'm going to take his hat off. He quite likes his new hat. What do you think of my glue gun Santa hat? Well, it's a bit of fun. We've all got to have a bit of fun. What's life if you're not having a bit of fun? So now you twist the fabric as you're coming around the bauble. And you need not every single centimetre, every single half inch, but you do need to put a fair bit of glue on this, otherwise the fabric sags. And we can't be doing with saggy fabric. While I'm covering this bauble, I'm just going to take this opportunity to say a huge thank you to everybody who supported my Christmas in July videos by watching, commenting. Even the people who are new here and who've subscribed to me, I really do appreciate you all. And it's great because the more people who come along with me when I make my crafts, the more fun it is. Let's chop that. Where's that wonky bit come from? Well, I cut off some of the edge of the fabric for binding on my daughter's quilt, and this is the little bit I had to trim off. So it's lovely having you all along with me, my subscribers from many years, well, about 3-4 years ago when I started, right up until my latest subscriber. I do appreciate you all and I love reading your comments. Right, I will see you when I get to the end of the bauble. Now, for the observant among you, you will notice I've run out of fabric. But it doesn't matter because I've got this. This was Knit Craft by Hobbycraft. Hug It Out, super chunky. I got this, I think this was a car boot sale. I can never remember where I got everything from. So I'm just going to carry on using this nice chunky yarn. I think it'll do just as good a job. And I also think it's going to add a little bit of interest because it's slightly different. So it's going to add a change to the bauble a little bit of the way down, just before the bottom. And that's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. So it's just exactly the same thing, only you're using very thick chunky yarn. If you don't have thick chunky yarn and you end up having to do this, or you decide you're going to do a bauble in yarn, you can always take a thinner yarn and make it into a braid, plait it, and then that'll make it a bit more chunky. You can use twine if you want to. You can possibly hear my family upstairs. I've got the door open onto my studio. It is so hot in here. I can't breathe, so I've decided it's either keep a fan running and drive you mad with the whirring, or you're just going to have to hear how noisy family life is at our house. You wouldn't think so few people could make such a lot of noise. I'm going to make a little bit of tassel for the bottom of this, so I'm going to take these off. I'm just going to wrap this around my hand a few times. Chop it off. And then get a piece of yarn and go through there and tie a knot, double knot, Then I'm going to cut the end off. I'm going to cut another piece of yarn, about 6 inches long-ish. Oh, look, I get glue everywhere. And now, for those of you who are following the thumb saga, I can craft much more now. I use these plasters on here. It just stops my thumbs triggering, which makes the trigger thumb worse. So I'm getting away with a little bit more. Don't tell my physiotherapist. Right, chop the ends off there, like that. Now cut the loops on the longest end, not on the shortest end. That will work, like that. And they're all going to be all over the shop. Now you've got 2 options here. You can either just let them run like that, trim them off, or you can get a comb or a brush. You can brush them out. I like doing this because it makes them nice and fluffy. So now you've got that. You can make it, you know, brush it right to the top when you've got time. I'm trying to, as usual, rush these 20 crafts. So just give it a bit of a haircut. And now you've got yourself a lovely tassel. I love that. It's a really sort of meaty one. Oh, I like that. I'm going to cut these a little bit shorter. Don't cut too close to the knot, otherwise it'll undo. But you can go fairly close, because now I'm going to put some glue inside the hole we got left. And then push the end of the tassel up inside the hole there. And now I can see I didn't actually need to leave any excess. So I'm going to chop that out and poke it in with a little bit of glue. And then at the top, I'm going to put a little bit of an embellishment. I like that, but I also did wonder, I'm going to find out now what the decision is. Am I going to put this on? It's like an ornament. Oh yeah, I think that really brings out, I don't know, something nice in it. I don't know what it brings out, but it brings something out in it. So I'm going to cut the hanger off, and I'm going to take my knife in my hand and see if I can snip this off. It may crack. Oh, no, we did it. It's a bit rough. Oh, never mind. Just trim it a little bit and then glue it into place. And there we've got a really extravagant bauble. Look at that. You love this. Oh, look at these glue strings. I think that's absolutely gorgeous, being so fluffy. So there we go. That is, we'll check in my pile. That's number 3. Bauble number 4 is on a similar theme, because I'm going to use this red twine rope yarn. It's so thick. It's amazing you have to think of this as yarn. So I'm going to get a little piece of this red and white gingham and make a hanger out of it. For those of you who watched last week, you'll remember that I've lost my very thin big roll of red and white gingham. And do you think I can find it? It's completely disappeared. I must have put it in a box of baubles or something. When I was looking through, it must have dropped in and it's disappeared. So it'll turn up at some point. So for now, I'm using the thicker gingham. And open that out, and then this bauble hasn't even got an end on it. Look at the state on that. So just cover that little hole and then open out the knot, put it over there, and then you've got yourself your hanger all done. And I would recommend you don't use any sort of fuzzy yarn if you've got plasters on your hands. This is driving me bananas. Everything is sticking to me. Right, we're going to start winding this around the bauble. Oops, finger protectors, don't forget. You think, oh, I'll be okay, but you probably will burn yourself. I do that sometimes. I think, oh, I'll be okay. It's only one little thing I'm sticking, and that's the one I burn myself on. Make sure this is nice and snug at the top. And look at the difference in that already. From one broken silver, it's supposed to be glitter, but it's not even glitter. It's like a rough surface that they painted silver to make it look a little bit like glitter, which they sort of got away with, but not much. So I'm going to keep going and going, round and round, and I will see you when I get to the bottom of the bauble, and we'll carry on. I've decided I'm going to use this beautiful little bird on this bauble, but I don't want this little clip thing. They stuck it in so you can clip it onto things, probably, I suppose, the branches of your Christmas tree. But I'm going to want to glue him at the top of the bauble, so see which way the bauble is going to hang. If the branch is coming that way, it's going to be hanging out there. Big blob of hot glue. Remember, the more hot glue you put on, the longer it takes to dry. Pop the bird on. Make sure he is sort of roughly facing upwards. But don't worry about the bit sticking up there at the moment, because we're going to fill that in. I've got some of this, so I could use some of these bits of holly. So you could have oh, I like the holly nest. Yes, I'm going for a holly nest. It's always good when you're waiting for something to dry. Have a look around, see what you've got. I've got a box to the side of my desk, and then whenever I'm waiting for something to cool or dry or whatever, I just have a little look, see what's there and see if anything inspires me. And look at that. Oh, I'm pleased with that. I did have other ideas and I'm glad I didn't go with them. So just keep experimenting right up until the last minute. And that is craft number 4. For Christmas bauble upcycle number 5, I've got this. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to be. This ribbon glued on it in some sort of really haphazard design. I think that's probably it's best for the bin, that it's really falling apart and all shriveled and awful. And this bauble does actually have glitter on it. It's not designed to look like glitter, it's real glitter. But we're going to hide it because I don't like it. I've got this beard. I can't remember where I picked this up. I think it was in the free shop. Well, in the free bin in the charity shop, they have this free bin with all grotty bits and pieces, and sometimes you get some really nice things. So I'm going to cut off the little bit that the moustache is attached to, and cut off the bottom of the moustache. Going to cut off the elastic because I'm not going to use this as a beard for a person. I'm going to get my bauble and take this end off purely because it'll get in the way. And then if I turn it that way, I'm going to put some hot glue on my bauble. And then bring the mask, it's the beard, around, and then glue it onto the bauble, and then round the back and onto itself. The nice lot of glue, so it's not going anywhere, like that. An interesting design on this beard. It's got 2 points on it. I'm not quite sure what that's all about. So I'm going to pick, well, I'll carry on with picking the front later. Now I got this, it's a pet hat. I picked this up in the car boot sale. I can't remember, I think I paid 50p for 2. So I thought I could do something with those. So it's not a full adult hat. It's not one of those little ones to go on top of a bottle. You could make one of these really easily. Just get some fur material, some felt, make a cone, stick a bauble on, stick some white fur, and you've got it done. But this was ready done for me. So now, if I scrunch the top of this up, I'm going to put the hat onto the bauble. A little bit of glue either side for now, I think. I don't want to put it on the front because that's where the nose is going. So now I'm going to trim Santa's beard in the right place because I don't like a double-pointed Santa beard. Put in some hot glue and then pop the nose just underneath the top of the hat like that. So I've got some of this black and white gingham. You can see I've used this before. It's got all glue on it, but that doesn't matter. And not, because that gives it more area to grab. And then I'm going to stick that onto the back of Santa's hat. Turn over that way, Santa. Put it on there, like that. Now it's a bit ugly, isn't it? So I'm going to hide that. Just going to glue on a few little pieces of greenery. Now this has 2 purposes. One, you know what it's like, you hang things on the tree and then they spin around and you sometimes end up seeing the back and you didn't want people to, so it'll make the back look prettier. But also it adds some weight to the back as well because I don't want all the weight on the front. And there's more beard at the front than there is at the back. Plus I'm going to put something on his hat which is going to add weight to the front. And I think these will match the gingham on the top of the hat. So let's have a look at the best place to put them. If you want to, you can stuff this hat, but I think that just adds too much weight. I'd rather leave the hat hollow because it will hang nicely. Because of the weight of the Santa pulling it down, it does actually look like it's full. So there we go. We got a really easy to make Santa. I will have to spend some time taking all the glue strings off this. So that's number 5, quarter of the way through making your old tatty Christmas baubles look pretty spectacular. Ho, 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 ho. Well, we've made it 1/4 of the way through already, so I'm going to do an easy one this time. But it's interesting because I'm going to show you how you deal with the tops of these baubles. I'm going to want to fill this clear bauble, so I'm going to pull that off. And you've got a problem. How do you get this back in? I always used to try squeezing these and getting them in, and it's really difficult. But there's a trick, so let me show you the trick. Take this top bit, squeeze these a little bit and push it down until it goes clunk into the little dips there. So if I pull that back up again, you can see there's little dips. Pull it down till clunk, it goes into there. Set that to one side. I'm going to take this bauble and all these little tiny baubles, they're really cute. You could put bigger ones in if you wanted to. You could colour coordinate them. If you've got a blue tree, put blue in. You put red and white. If you've got a candy cane tree, you can put all red and green if you're going for a traditional look. Although they're not really very traditional, are they? Fluffy pom-poms in a bauble. And then you can do whatever you like. You can fill it completely full. You can fill it halfway. You could just put white ones in and make it look like it's been snowing, I suppose. But I'm going for multicoloured because why not? Same they charge. And the most difficult part of making this by far is getting all these little fluffy balls into the bauble. They don't want to go in. They're not very cooperative. And when it's pretty full, get your top, which again, remember you've pushed the little lid thing or the little top thing into the little dips in the metal. You can just push that on there. It goes in really easily. And then squeeze it, push it in. Can you see that? I'll do it again. I'll take it out, push it. Whoops, squeeze these, push it in. You've got to squeeze it a bit to get it going. Push it until it goes clunk into the little gap. Put the 2 prongs inside. And then push. You may need to squeeze it. Bing! In it goes. And it's done. Look at that. How easy is that? And you've learned how to fix the top into a bauble. That was craft number 6. Let's get on with craft number 7. For Christmas bauble upcycle number 7, we've got this bauble, which is not the prettiest bauble in the world. Got some scratches and marks on it. I'm going to cut off the hanger. And then to make a new hanger, I've got this, which is actually off one of my blouses, not on the top. And there, that's a hanger, sorted out and cost me nothing. I've got this ribbon, great buy, decorating craft gift floral, I'm not sure what it is, from Sop America, made in Germany. And I bought this in, I'm pretty sure this is what I bought in a brocante, which is like a street market, a flea market over in France. Oh, look, a free pin. You can't beat a free pin. And this is lovely, look at that. I'm going to use this to cover this bauble. This is going to take this bauble from absolutely ordinary and ugly into looking really high end. I did one of these last week, but I used beads as well as a like twiny sort of braidy cordy stuff. I'm never quite sure what the proper name is. But this one I'm showing you just how easy it is with one thing. Now you can, if you've seen my videos from previous years, the number of baubles I've covered with twine, things like that, and then embellish them in different ways. Because twine is the obvious thought. Oh, I'm going to cover this bauble in something. I'll use twine or I'll use wool. But I love coming up with something that I haven't seen used before. And I haven't seen this used before. As I'm coming around the bauble, it should really show off the twist. The twist should sort of open up, if you see what I mean. And you'll see more of it. Now, that's the idea. I've never used this before, so I'm not really sure it's going to work. But I think, yep, it's working already. Look. So if you've got something like this, you may have bought it for crafting, thought, oh, that is so pretty, I'm going to use it, and then thought, what on earth am I going to use it on? It's easily done. We see things, they tempt us, oh, look at the pretty sparklies, and then we get it home and we think, right then, I have some pretty sparklies and no idea what I'm going to do with them. And it always seems a shame to put things like that in your cupboard and forget about them, because you paid for them, you really like them, so if you can find any way of using them, that's really good. And I always like to say that life is too short to keep your best crafting supplies. till later. Get on and use them. Why not? Now, out of interest, you may want to know this was 2 meters long and I couldn't go around one small bauble with it. It didn't quite get to the end. But it doesn't matter because as crafters, it's not a problem. I'm going to pop some glue in the end there. And I've got this little glass nugget thing. I don't know what is the proper name, but we'll call it a nugget. And look at that. It just happens to fit in there perfectly. I got a button to try, but I didn't like the button. But that, I think, is lovely and looks like I've done it particularly because I wanted it to look like that. It's clever how we crafters get away with things. I love that. I've got some little bells in here. I thought it'd be nice to put some of these onto this. Now, I was either going to put some along the top or dangling from the bottom. It's difficult to dangle them from the bottom now because I can't get a tassel in there. So I think what I'll do is I'll make a little bit of a feature for the front of the bauble. So I'm going to get some of this. And I'm going to thread this through the little bells, which is surprisingly easy. I thought I was going to find it difficult. And then tie them together. And now we just need a little bit of decor to go on the front that'll make the bells look really good. And I thought, what about some lace? I've got this. I cut this off. It was a blouse or something, a child's dress, I think. Yes, a child's dress. I've had it for years now. A little bit of glue on there. Not all around it, just on the one bit. And then pop it into place. Flatten those bits down. Oh, that's hot. And then a tiny bit. You really don't need much glue at all. Flatten that onto there, and then I'm going to glue the bells onto that. We just need to add a little embellishment on the top, and I think a bow will be perfect. You know me, any excuse for a bow. And then I'm going to pop the bow on the top there, and then I think I'm going to need to put a little bit of something to hide the top where I've tied the bows together, and that's simple enough. I just think I'll put, I've got a little round bell. What will that look like? So now we got silver and gold bells on some lace with the bow on top of this beautiful, gorgeous braid with an addition at the bottom that looks like it was meant to be there. That's craft number 7. For Christmas bauble upcycle number 8, I've got to confess I've had an accident. I was going to reuse this, which is a pine cone that's been painted silver. And it was attached to a branch, it was, rather than hanging as a bauble. I'm still going to use it, but I'll show you any second now what happened. I rolled it was on the floor. I've got all my projects all laid out nicely on the floor, and I rolled my chair back a bit too far, and I squashed it. I know, it was terrible. Never mind, we're going to turn it that way, and you'll never know. So I've got this, which is another ornament that's really tatty. All her crown is snapped, and I've been trying to get her arms to look a little bit more normal. And I just need to take these chain legs off here, and I'm not sure whether I can just pull. No, I don't think I can. There we go, they're cutting off right up inside. So now I'm going to get my glue, and look, that was the really pretty side that I've squashed, and it's the less pretty side you can see. Never mind, we'll be okay. So now I'm going to put a lot of glue on there. I'm not sure where this is going to attach, so I'm going to put glue everywhere. And then I'm going to push this up inside her dress. Oh, make sure the best side of the pine cone is showing. Not that it's got much of a best side now. But if you do this with a nice pine cone, that won't happen. You don't even need one that's painted silver. You can just get a normal pine cone. But this is using 2 Christmas decorations to make one. And now I just need to give a little bit of an embellishment to the top of her hair, or her head, to hide the crown, because the crown really isn't very well, is it? So I'm going to see if this will go right the way around her crown. Oh yes, it just about makes it. Well, that's clever, because it was just an odd bit that I found. There we go. She looks like she's had a bit of a shock. She's scared. She's watching a horror movie and her hair is standing on end. Now we need to neaten that up a little bit by putting some embellishments on. Perhaps we'll just put some berries on. Let's have a look. This may not be the best design. I'm sure you can make your little angel or whatever it is that you've used look much prettier than mine. Just by popping those on there, it almost looks like a crown, I think. And how easy was that? Christmas bauble upcycle number 8. And if only I hadn't run over my pine cone, it would have looked absolutely perfect. But I think she's okay as she is. For Christmas bauble decoration upcycle number 9, I got a tumbling block. And I got these 2 Christmas decorations. I got these from Temu. They came with a little bench as well. And I can't find the bench anywhere. So they don't really fit on anything other than the bench. So I had an idea. Got myself, picking up my glue gun to make a hole. And I'm going to put a hole either side of my tumbling block using my drill. Ooh, there's something very satisfying about using power tools. Now the reason I put the bit of wood underneath, as you can see, I go right the way through, and by now my desk will be virtually destroyed. So that's why I keep this really thick piece of wood just for drilling holes. So now the challenge. I'm going to try and get this piece of twine to go through there. Oh, that went through fairly quickly. I didn't think it was going to. I'm going to do a double knot in that. And then I'm going to come from the top to the bottom on the other side. Pull it through. And then decide how long I want this to hang. I'm going to let it hang quite long. I think to about there. So about that area is where I want my double knot. Tie it up, 1, 2, snip it off about the same length. I want it to look like one of those garden swings that you build for the children. Nice homemade job that looks really good. And then pull that little bit of wood off, a little bit of glue on there, and pull it through. Now I'm going to get my 2 little kissy boyfriend and girlfriend with their Santa hats on, and I'm going to sit them on the wooden block. So a little bit of glue on his bottom. Oh, that's hot. Oh, you'll be okay. And then on the little girl. Oh, that was really hot. I know. It's not my fault. You should have worn some trousers. And sit her next door to him. And they're having a kiss. Look at that. And that's really easy. Just 2 little figures that I had no idea what I was going to do with because they'd lost their bench. Now they've got a swing, and they can swing from the Christmas tree. And now for Christmas project number 10, upcycling a Christmas bauble, and it's completely trial for me. I have no idea whether this is going to work or not. I've got these. A while ago I started doing these bead paintings, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't done it for a while now. And these are all the spare ones I had. So I thought, well, I'm going to keep them and see if I can come up with a way of using them. So I'm going to pour some into the bottom of this yogurt pot. Then I'm going to get out my tacky glue. And then I've got this bauble. I'm going to stick this on the stick, but it'll keep falling off. So only a tiny bit. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue on the end of the stick. Then waggle it about a bit to cool it, because we don't want too good a bond. Poke it up inside the bauble and push until you get to the end, and then pop it down while it cools. So now I want to get a brush that'll fit in my bottle. This one just about fits in like that. And I'm going to completely coat this with this tacky glue. Now I'm hoping this will get really good coverage, but just in case it doesn't, I picked the colour bauble I liked because there may be little gaps showing. As I've said, this is complete experimental for me. No idea if it's going to work. Never done it before. And now, get my little tub of beads, and I'm going to dip this in, a bit like if you were trying to put sprinkles on one of those cake pops. Oh yes, look at that, it worked. Oh, I'm really pleased. Give it another little dab. Now what I have noticed, don't spin it, because if you spin it, some of the beads come back off, and then I've got lots of beads that are now in there and covered in glue. So that's going to turn into a massive blob. So no, don't spin it, just dob it in. Now I know. So that needs to dry, which is going to take a while. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to finish that off, and then I'll put the picture up on the screen of what it looks like when it's finished. I'm just going to add a hanger, and I don't think it needs a lot, but I've got this ribbon, and it's got a bit of a nasty stain there, but that doesn't matter. I'm going to make a 2-loop bow. I'm okay, there's no stain that way. So I'm going to get both of those ends, put them together, fold them in half, This way you know you're going to get exactly the same length and the right shaped dovetail. Cut up to the middle. And we got a bow. So this bauble is going to have a bow attached to it, and you can see that's going to look really gorgeous by the side of all those. I can't wait to see this finished, but it's not going to be dry for a couple of hours yet. But that's what it looks like. Are you impressed? I love it. Christmas bauble project 11 is this. My granddaughter went to a car boot sale and found this snowman in bits, and she said, I bet Granny could do something with that. So she brought him to me. So I thought, right, I'm going to upcycle this snowman. Now you can see the first thing I'm going to have to do is rejoin his hat. I'm not sure if I like that. I think that's tatty, so I'm going to take that off and then figure out how this went on. Sort of like that, I think. I don't think there's a... Oh, this isn't... I thought it was clay. It's quite rubbery. So I'm going to put some hot glue on the bottom of this. Get the hat. Stick it on, then hold it till it cools. I'm going to leave that hanger on there because it's pointless replacing it with another one, because that's a perfectly serviceable hanger. And now I've got all these pom-poms, and I thought a bit of fun would be to get the tiniest pom-poms out. It's a bit rattly. Get them all out, and then we can see what we're picking up. Oh, I could even do, have I got any little tiny white ones? No, I don't. So I'm going to glue some little purple pom-poms. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe a different colour would be good. Oh, I think I'm going to do blue. Blue is sort of a frozen colour, isn't it? So something to do with the cold. It's a good enough reason. We'll use blue. You could use multicoloured, anything like that. This is good practice, this sort of thing. Somebody gives you something, say, can you do something with this? Well, now you have to think. You've got to come up with something. You can't say, oh, no, I don't know what to do. And it really stretches your brain. And I think that's really good for us as crafters. One, you develop as a crafter. And two, the more active you can keep your brain, the better. Especially as you get older. I'm 60 now, and I don't want my brain to start vegetating. So I do love a challenge for my brain. Fortunately for me, I like learning languages. So that keeps my brain fairly well stimulated. But I also love, I love sewing, I love crafting. Not so much the drawing anymore, but I used to really enjoy drawing. I need one more blue. But it really is good to keep your brain as active as you can. There we go. Oh yes, look at that. I like that. I've got a few little bits and pieces. I don't know what I was going to do. There's no plan for this. Right, I need to get something black for in his eye there. Or can I pick that one out? That would be quicker, wouldn't it? There we go. I picked that one out. And then I'm going to get a pen. I've got the fine point of my Indian ink pen. I'll try that. Now, this is going to take a lot of concentration. Ow, that hurt. Ow, that hurt as well. Oh, that wasn't too bad. There we go. Now he hasn't got a nose. Could do with a little bit of orange felt for a nose. Right, I've got two choices. I've got this orange felt, which is really quite yellow. Or I've got this orange felt, which is a bit pastel. Or I've got this really nice orange, but it's a pom-pom. So I wonder if I can get this pom-pom. Oh, maybe that'll do it. No, that's too fluffy. You know, it's just not holding together. So I'll try trimming this pom-pom into a sort of snowman nose shape. I really don't think this is going to work, but I'm going to give it a try. Where's it gone? One piece did actually stick together. I'm all fingers and thumbs with these plasters. Oh, look at that. That's fine. That's fine. Well, now I thought we need to do something, you know, just fixing his hat and putting some baubles on isn't really enough. So I thought I'd give him a snowball. Because we all know snowmen love playing snowballs. So I'm going to put some hot glue on his one hand. Pop a snowball on it. If you're going to do this, make sure before you start that the hands will reach. If not, you may need a bigger snowball. Whoops. More hot glue on that hand. And then, there we go. He's holding his snowball. Oh, that's fun. Well, that's real fun. It cost nothing to fix, just some bits and pieces I already had. And now it looks like a perfectly serviceable ornament. I'm going to put him on my Christmas tree this year. And he's lovely and he'll remind me of my granddaughter. For Christmas bauble upcycle decoration, that's quite a mouthful, isn't it? Number 12, I've got this big bauble. It's got a hanger, so I'm going to leave that on as the hanger. And I've got this here, I'll show you. Put him down there. It's this old vintage lace and it's designed for this. I've checked that this will go through. What you do is you thread some ribbon in and out. It's a bit fiddly. I find it doesn't really speed things up if you use a bodkin or a thick darning embroidery needle to get the lace through, because then it just twists up. So I find it easier to just settle down, determined you're not going to get frustrated by the process, and put it through. Plus, this is a little bit thick. It should have been a bit thinner, really, but I don't have any thinner black and white, and I wanted to use the black and white because I think it goes so well with the purple. I'm going to put it through, and I should have enough, in theory, although running out of things seems to be the theme through this video. I should have enough to be able to go right the way around the bauble. So now I'm going to get the bauble, and this is always a challenge for me. I want to put this around the middle, and it's very difficult to figure out exactly where the middle is. So I just do my best. So I'm going to put some there. I'm going to think of that as the middle. It's the middle-ish. Put it on, and then stick it round and around till you get to the back. Make sure it's nice and snug. Don't have this flopping, because it just looks much nicer if you've got it nice and snug. Cut it off. I should actually be saying round to the front, because where I'm going to put a big embellishment on the front, I thought the best thing to do is probably to put the join at the front and then put the embellishment over the join, and then there's no visible join. That's my theory. Trim that off. And I love that already. I think the black and the white contrasting against the purple is so pretty. I've got this snowflake, and this has got one of those little hanging loops on, so I'm going to do it again. I know, I never learn. I'm going to use my little clippers and see if I can take that loop or hoop off. If this shatters, I don't know what I'm going to use instead of it. Oh, there we are. It came off pretty good. And I'm going to put this there over the join, and then you can't see the join, which is the best side. That way I think it's going to go. So a nice big blob of glue, because there's like a bit of a dip in there, and then on with the star like that. And I got this. I wondered whether I could actually make an embellishment with this. So now coming behind the star, I'm going to squirt some glue in there, and then I'm going to put these black holly leaves in there. Oops, it's rolling all around the place. Like that. And these, at first I thought I could just put them on, but I think I'm going to have to take all the ends off. And this is going to be quite a challenge. I'm going to pop some glue on there. And then I really should have trimmed all these short first. Poke them in the front. And then we're going to have some lovely silver berries on the front decorating this. And now to brighten up those black leaves on the top, I think they need a bit of brightening up. A little bit more hot glue. Slip and put it everywhere. And pop the white leaves over the black leaves. I don't want to hide the black leaves, which you couldn't anyway because these are fairly transparent. But it just gives it more dimension, more interest. Look at that. Oh, I really like that. I think the colour scheme is fabulous. You can't beat black, purple and white. You just got something about it, something special about it. I don't know what it is. So that's Christmas craft number 12. For Christmas bauble craft number 13, I've got a bauble and I've got some of this. It's a holly berry garland, 2.7 metres. I got this about 3 years ago. I don't know if it's going to cover everything after the last experience we had with the roll at 6.5 feet, which is about 2 metres, wasn't it? So we'll see if I can cover this with 2 metres. We'll find out. So out with the hot glue. I'm going to leave the hanger on again. It's a bit of a nuisance when you're trying to do this and the hanger keeps plopping off and falling off and sticking in your glue. If you persevere, you'll be fine. And when I bought this, I thought, this is a really nice idea because it's got these intermittent holly berries. But you can pretty much guarantee that wherever they come isn't where you want them. It just doesn't seem to work that way for me. So I was going to use this on a lot more things, and I never really used it much because I couldn't get the berries where I wanted them. And you can always take them off and move them, but that sort of defeated the purpose. So I just never really used it much. But now I'm probably going to use the whole reel. Let's put it on the floor. It's going to be easier. We'll see where, I'll tell you what, I won't alter the berries at all. We'll have a laugh and see where the berries come, okay? See if they all come in a blob or whether they do even themselves out. So that's this fully wound, and I don't think it's done a terribly good job, but I don't think the job's too bad. If I really was worried about that, I'd be taking all the berries off. They are twisted on wires, and putting them on where I wanted them to. As I say, that defeats the object, so I would never buy that again. It hasn't really suited my personality and the way I craft. But what I do have is this flat bit here that I can embellish. I wanted somewhere to embellish, so we'll pretend that that's a design feature, okay? One thing I don't like with these leaves is that all the interest is on the bottom. I know that's the way it would be in nature, but you want to see those bits, but they face in the wrong way. So this time, I'm going to put them on with them sticking up, and you won't be able to see so much of the vein detail or anything like that. Won't look anywhere near as pretty as I would have liked. I've just had an idea. I've got this tinsel. You couldn't even say what colour that was. There are so many different colours in it. And I'm wondering if a blob of that in the middle of there would really look ostentatious, but interesting. So I'm going to give it a try. We can only fail. It's the worst that can happen. So pop it in. Oh, look at that. I love it. Oh, I'm glad I decided to do that. I was going to put all these sort of glamorous looking things. I could put some of that over the top, but I think that's enough. I think that is so bright and sparkly and cheerful. Yep. That's one of my favourites. Number 13. On bauble number 14. Whoops, I'm going to use some paint. I've got this jar, which I'm just going to pop this bauble in with a little hanger sticking in there, and that way then it's not going to roll around. I'm going to use for this my metallic acrylic paint from Arteza, 12 vivid colours. So you don't need an awful lot of this paint. You can always get more if you want to, but it's quite expensive, so try not to waste this sort of paint if you can help it. But then again, don't scrimp too much, otherwise it just won't look good. Get yourself a good blob on there. Now, this isn't going to sit very easily, is it? I'm going to always have to keep my finger on there. I'm going to start there and put a blob on, which I won't be able to show you, but it doesn't matter because now I'm going to put one at the top there. Like that. And this is so easy to do, and it's very therapeutic. It's a bit like finger painting when you were a child. And you can't get it wrong. You just put the bops and dops and blobs where you want them to be. Make sure you clean off whatever tool you're using. Now we put some green on. Wish I could show you this. It's fun. It's so enjoyable to do. Look, I've got tinsel stuck on my plaster now. And there. I hope I haven't got too many around there. I need to turn my jar around really because I can't see what I'm doing. Good idea, Caroline. You should have thought of that earlier. And if you get one, just like I did there, and there's not enough paint, go get yourself another blob and go in exactly the same place again. And a few more places, and then we're done. Just going to be a matter of letting this dry again, because I don't want to go trying to do it. I know sometimes I do things when the paint's still wet, but I don't think it's going to work on this. It's going to make a right mess. And now, my crowning glory, because now I don't need to hold it anymore, I'm going to use the last of the silver. Make sure I've got enough on there. And I'm going to put a silver blob there, right on the top. Ah, it's picking my bauble up. Like that. And now I'm just going to put that to dry. Put the hanger on it. And it looks like that. I think it's going to be that side. Oh, I like that one. It's a bit of fun. I love spots. And I thoroughly enjoy doing that. And that's craft number 14. For craft number 15, I've got another one of these baubles. You can see all the tinsel or glitters coming off that one as well. And I got this lovely tinsel. It's in red and green. And I'm going to cover this bauble. Yes, there are a lot of covered baubles, but I'm trying to show you all the different things you can do purely by covering a bauble. You think, oh yes, but I've done that so I wouldn't want to do it again. It's boring. There are so many variations and so many ideas you can come up with. So don't give up on it that easily, because it's one of the best ways of hiding ugly baubles. And wait till you see this one. I always buy my tinsel in either car boot sales or charity shops. If you're really, really lucky, you can get it for like 10p a strand. It used to be 10p a strand everywhere. Now I'm paying 50p. Sometimes, if it's a really long strand, I end up paying £1 for it. But it's because it's exceptionally long. But it's not as cheap as it used to be. Same with baubles. I used to pick baubles up in charity shops for virtually nothing, 10p a bauble. Those days are long gone. Now they're doing 3 for £1, things like that. So it definitely is worth upcycling your old baubles. If you've got old baubles there, don't throw those away and then go buying other ones for your crafting, because it's going to cost you a fortune. And nobody wants to go paying £2 for a bauble just to cover it up with a load of tinsel or whatever. And now we're going to add the fun bit. That's pretty as it is. I mean, if you want to hang that, and it definitely makes your baubles bigger. But now, this bit I'm really looking forward to. I've got some Christmas balls. They're pom-poms. They're like snowballs. And I'm going to put these all around the place just for the fun of it. So I'm going to try doing it random. But I'm not very good at random. It always seems to have some sort of pattern, whatever I do. So I'm just going to pop them all over the place. I suppose it might be better to do a little bit of even spacing rather than random. But I think the contrast of the white against the red and the green is lovely. It's absolutely perfect for Christmas, isn't it? Just the sort of thing you need to brighten you up. It's one of those happy Christmas decorations. You get elegant decorations and you get country style, homely, give you a warm fuzzy feeling decorations. But this is one of those make you smile decorations. And I think the more reasons we can have in our homes to make us smile, the better. So this is the sort of decoration I really enjoy. So look at that. That is such fun. Isn't that a happy Christmas decoration? You'd never guess it was just a tatty bauble underneath. That's great fun. Let's move on with the next one. On the theme of covering baubles, for this next project, I've got this bauble, which I don't know, I'm not particularly keen on the decoration, so I thought I'm going to cover this in brightly coloured pom-poms. I've got lots of pom-poms here, so plenty to choose from. And this is going to be another one of those crafts that grows your baubles as well. So if you've got yourself a bigger tree this year and you think, oh, my baubles don't look much, if you decorate them with something like this, then what will happen is you will have baubles that are, at least 25% bigger than they were. And you won't have to go out and spend a lot of money on them. This is just going to take... I'm not sure how much this pack... Oh, that's the wrong colour. I want to have different colours. I can't remember how much this pack actually cost me of pom-poms. I got all different sizes in it. But I do know that I've been using it for a while. I'm still at it now. It's surprising how far they go. And the thing is, you get pom-poms and you think, oh, I'm never going to use those little tiny ones, or I'm never going to use those big ones. And it's surprising just how many you end up using, especially if you do Christmas, because pom-poms are just such a fun Christmas thing to do. If you can get one of those cool glue guns, I think they're safe for children, but I'm not sure. If you can get a cool glue gun, then you can get your children to join in with you as well, and they'll have a whale of a time doing this. And again, this is one of those Christmas decorations that's just going to make you smile, isn't it? You look at this and it's just so silly. It's such fun. Right, I'll get back to you when I've completely pom-pommed my bauble. And it's not every day somebody says that to you. And look at that. Isn't that fun? I think it's lovely. It's so tactile. I keep taking it off the tree and giving it a squidge. It's very squidgeable. Well, I hope you enjoyed that one. We got more to come. So come on, let's get on with the next one. Now, this one is really going to be interesting. I'm going to cover the bauble first with some tinsel. This is a thinner tinsel. Usually the tinsel I get access to is quite thick nowadays, unless you get the vintage tinsel. But for some reason, this one is a thinner one and it's a newer one. So I don't know where the thinner tinsel is coming back into vogue and everybody is going to want thinner tinsel. You know the routine. Just go round and round and round your bauble with some tinsel. And then I'm going to get back to you and show you what really works the magic on this bauble. And we'll transform it into something absolutely amazing. I really can't wait to do this. So there is the bauble covered in tinsel. And you might think, what on earth is she going to do with that? Well, I got this bag. I picked this up from, I'm pretty sure this was a charity shop buy. And it's got lots of different bits and pieces in it. It was in a load of Christmas things. Oh, I think actually it came to me in an auction box of Christmas decorations. And there are little sticky things, sticking things on. But they got all these bulbs. And I thought, ooh, most of them are broken. They're popped. You can see the elements gone. But I am going to glue these into the tinsel. And I think that is going to look really amazing. So pop them in and then make sure you push the tinsel around the blue. So save up all your bulbs that pop, because there is something you can do with them. And then just pop them all over the place. And don't forget, you really do need to be squishing up all this. Otherwise you could see too much. It doesn't matter if you see a bit of the green. I mean, you do on the Christmas tree. But you don't want big blobby green things sticking out. And there's no way, like normally I would chop like a hanger or something that was sticking out off so that you couldn't see it. But you can't do that with these bulbs, I don't think. Maybe you could take that bit out, but I don't want to risk smashing the bulb and cutting my hands. So look at that for craft number 17. There's the hanger. Again, you've got a much bigger bauble now, and I think it looks lovely with all these lights. You can put as many or as few as you want, or as many as few as you've got. And I think that's really cute. And when the tree lights are shining through behind some of these bulbs, it will actually look like they're lit up anyway. Another one finished. For craft number 18, I've got a bauble. It's a plain boring bauble with a couple of scratches on it. And I've got some other little baubles. I've got some lace. I've threaded this through on here ready because I was trying to save some time. But it's not going to work, I don't think, because I've got a lot more to thread. So tie a bauble onto a piece of lace like that. And then trim off the end. Well, it's a lace ribbon, it is, it's not a piece of lace. And then pop a little bit of glue on, because otherwise it's going to, well, the knot will undo and then it won't be stuck on anymore. Now I cut about 14 inches of ribbon and then thread another bauble. And then tie a knot in that end and a little bit of glue on there. Then I'm going to get some of this thinner ribbon to go on these smaller baubles. You want these baubles to be hanging at different lengths. So try and work out, I mean, you can measure it, but I'd never manage that to get it all perfectly worked out. So I'm just guessing to see how close I can get to having them all at different lengths. And I can always tie a knot a little bit shorter or something like that if I need to. So now I want to get the baubles hanging at different lengths. So that one there and that one there. It's difficult to show you. And then put those ones over my finger as well and make sure they are hanging at different lengths. And then I'm going to get this one, snip that very short, so it's shorter than any of the others. This would be easier to do if I lay them down, I suppose, like that. And then I'm going to tie a double knot in this one to be extra sure. And now we've just got all different layers of baubles hanging down like that. And if they're not quite right, like I want one of those black ones, one of the big ones is supposed to be longer than the other, so push it through like that until you're happy with where they go, because you haven't glued that top knot. Now I'm going to trim that off, but not as tight as last time, and I'm going to figure out where the bottom of this is. And you know me, I'm not very good at finding the exact bottom, so I'm going to go for about there. And then I'm going to stick my finger protector on while that's cooling a little bit, because you don't have to rush. And then stick those into place, and I think that's near enough the bottom. And then as the glue is drying, then you can move the little ones to the front and leave the bigger ones at the back. Now with the thicker lace, the plan is, I don't know if I can do this, I'm hoping to make, I've only got this one little bit, I keep saying lace, it's a lace ribbon it is. I'm hoping to make a 2-loop bow out of this. It's going to be tight, but we might just do it. Then get the red, and I know I got plenty to make a 2-loop bow with this one. Now figure out which way your bauble hangs, and then stick on your one bow, your biggest bow, And then over the top of your biggest bow, pop another little blob of glue. And you stick on your smaller bow. So now I'm going to add some of the black lace around the middle. So, and again, guessing roughly where the middle is. And probably failing miserably. A little bit of glue, not too much. Round it goes. And then join it at the back and chop it off. And there we have it, one Christmas bauble. Now you could add more embellishments if you want to. I'm quite happy with that. I think that's enough. Any more for me would be a bit too much. So that's craft number 18, only 2 to go. For craft number 19, you might think, oh, I've seen this done before, but it's going to be with a twist. A little bit of extra flair, a little bit of pizzazz, a little bit of oomph even. So I'm going to start by winding some of this. This is actually some sort of, I don't know, it's like a cord thing. I'm not sure what you use it for. Like a shoelace. Doesn't look very pretty. Whoops, got tinsel sticking to my glue gun. It doesn't look very pretty all of its own. It looks like a shoelace. I've ended up like this because I forgot myself. I was so keen, I went ahead and forgot I'm adding another colour in. So once you've gone around the top a little bit, add in a different colour. Now this is more of a proper cording. And then come around a bit with the silver, and then a bit with the black. And more glue. And my desk is getting really messy now. Around with the silver and underneath with the black. You can tell we're nearly at the end. I got bits sticking everywhere. My poor glue gun started to get covered in goodness knows what. It's rather distracting. This is why I like to keep a tidy desk. I know we're not all the same. My husband, his desk, when he's working, if he's making crafts in his shed, oh, you can't move. I don't know how he copes. He can never find anything. But that's the way he works comfortably. It suits his personality. Whereas I'm 100% the opposite. When my desk gets in a mess, my brain gets in a mess. And I don't know what on earth I'm doing. What about you? Were you a messy crafter or are you a tidy crafter? I think generally there are more messy crafters than tidy crafters from the people I know in the crafting world. I think some of it is because crafting is so much fun. You don't want to stop and clean up. And you'd rather be crafting and think, oh, I'm only going to mess it up again anyway. I just don't cope with not being able to find things. I find that really frustrating. When you get nearly to the bottom of your bauble with your winding, you then know pretty much where the bottom of the bauble is. Now, as you can see, I've run out of black, but I'm not too worried about that because it's all going to be hidden anyway. Mainly because it's down. I'm going to finish off one more round with the silver cord. Oh, and then that's it anyway, so I might as well finish off my bit of silver cord. This really doesn't go as far as I imagined. Yarn seems to go on forever. Twine seems to go on forever. But this stuff seems to run out really quickly. So now you're going to get a bauble, a little one, take the end off, chop this bit off. It usually pings, so be careful. Oops, that just went in my coffee. Remind me not to drink my coffee. Now I'm going to get this to hold my bauble. It's not going to hold it straight, but it'll hold it at least from rolling around. And then glue this bauble centrally as we can to the bottom of this bauble. And then check it's hanging fairly straight. You need to turn it around because it looks straight sometimes. As you turn it, it wanders off. You can see it's not straight. So there we go. That's sort of straight. Looks like a big clown's nose, doesn't it? Now cut yourself a piece of tinsel. You can use this to hide the join. If you've got enough cord, you don't need to put tinsel on. But I wanted to put tinsel on because I want this to look a little bit more, not crazy, fun. Yes, fun. That'll cover it. We've done some nice glamorous ones. I like more fun baubles, so I want to get as many fun ones in as I can. Now that looks lovely as it is, but then I've got this bow here and I thought this would look nice if I tie it into a 2-loop bow. Again, free ribbon, got this from inside a blouse, and then glue that into place at the top of the bauble there. I'm going to leave the ends dangling on this because, again, that's another bit of fun. And I've got some other black embellishments that I'm not sure whether it's going to work. I've got this here that I made this, a while ago now. It's come off something. You can see it was 2 black maple leaves and some other leaves, and this was off a hairband thing. So I thought I could stick it on there, but I think it's just too much. I don't think it's going to work. And even if I put it, what do you think, near the top? Oh, actually, near the top, I think I like it. What do you think? Near the top or not at all? Oh, it looks bold now. Now I've seen it near the top. Yeah, I think it needs to go on. Right, so I'm going to pop that on there. Move the hanger out of the way. I was going to put a hanger on the top, but I think that one's sufficient. Pop that on there. And, oh yes, look at that. Doesn't that look? Well, I don't know what the word would be, but how would you describe that without that bit on there? I think that's lovely. That makes me happy. And isn't that what crafting's all about? It's the last one next. Now, I was really struggling as to what to do for my last craft because I've got quite a few ideas in mind. And I didn't want to do all wrapping, but I just think that this is going to look so nice. So I've decided to go for it. It's a country style Christmas decoration. But you could still, I think you could file this under glamour as well. Oh, it's going to be my last glue stick of the night. I hope. Whenever you use a thicker rope like this, it's a very thick, you could call it twine, I suppose, twine, rope, whatever, always put a little bit of glue in and give it a twist, because otherwise it'll fray terribly and drive you bananas when you're trying to work with it. So I'm going to cover this bauble with this string, and you don't need to see me do this. You've seen me cover a million baubles by now, so I'm just going to get this all finished, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So now when you get to about 3/4 of the way down your bauble, finish off. And then I got another one of these flowery things that I got off a pick. I'm going to start to dismantle this one. I don't want this one to be all stuck together. I'm going to try and take a couple of layers of these bottom petals off. This may not go well. We'll find out now. I just pull and see what happens. What's the worst that can happen? Oh, there we go. Perfect, because I want this to go up in this direction on the top. I don't want this, like on the last one, we hung that down. This is going to go up like that. So I'm going to put hot glue all around the bottom because I really want this to stick well. Pop it on and bring everything up and around like that. And now I've got some bits and pieces that I thought may look good, but I'm really not sure how much I'm going to need them. I've got these little bits of orange or tangerine, they may even have been. I'm not sure where I got these. So these can go on the front, you know, they're perfect like that. I've got this piece of lace, but I think that is going to disappear. You can't see it, can you? So that's not going to work. I got this piece of lace here. This is really nice, very old. Really scrunched up, so I can put that on. But again, that seems to disappear. So I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and use a different colour ribbon. So let's see what I got. I got red. Now that is going to take away the sort of neutral look of it. Maybe a brown. What do you think about a brown? Oh, I like that, but I like that as a hanger. I'm going to use this brown. We'll start off putting a hanger on, because you never know at what point you're going to stop. So I think if you put the hanger on and then put a bow on the hanger, that may be enough. I'll make a 2-loop bow. Thinking on my feet now. It's been a bit of a marathon, this. Again, this is the 3rd marathon so far. It may not be so crazy next week, but I can't guarantee it. I've got a few ideas in mind, so I'm trying to decide which one to go for. You'll find out next week which one I do decide to go for. And now I'm going to put this, oh, I won't tie it with this, I'll tie it with some twine, I think. I think it'll be easier. So and then a little blob of glue on the knot to hold it in place. And not only is that holding that in place, but I'm going to use it to stick the bow on as well. And I think something like a wooden button on the front there, and I think we're just about done. Oh, yes, look at that. That is going to be perfect. Which side? Both the same side. I thought perhaps one was older looking than the other. There we go. Well, I was going to add more to that, but I don't think it needs it. I think that is absolutely gorgeous. Look at that. So pretty, so cute in this craft number 20. Well, I'm really pleased with that one. Trying to put the glue gun to bed for another week. Well, it isn't really. It's another week until you see my next video, but I'll be busy using it. But I've had such a wonderful time. It's been brilliant. We've got only one video left after this, and then it's the end of Christmas in July. So be sure to catch up with it. If you haven't already subscribed, then please subscribe and ring the little notification bell. And that way then you're sure to catch that video, because there's no more Christmas in July until 2025. Cool, that's a long way away. Well, thank you ever so much for watching. It's been great fun having you join me doing all this craft. I've now got to clean all that mess up. Plus, I've got my cup of coffee. It's no more because there's, well, at least a little bit of Christmas bauble in there. And I think I can see some little bits of glitter as well. So I'm not drinking that. Oh, and don't forget before you go to give me a thumbs up. That would be great if you've enjoyed the video. And I'll see you all next time. But until then, don't forget, happy crafting and have fun. Bye.